Just let wait for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Welcome for Global Governance News TV. Please, I request to just all the mute your mic so we can hear to each other very well. When anybody speak, please mute yourself, and other speaker and the other one, anchor one, will open the mic. So thank you. So welcome Global Governance News TV, just a TV for the global cause and the global news, and just we are on the social platform, and as we know it. And this today our subject is the corona and the domestic violence. So already just in the same last program we're discussing the corona. Madam Krishna Pujaraji just suggested this is just how we feel it, how, because he is very active. So just I'll give the intro of the subject, how the subject going on. Then I introduce you all of you, and then we'll start the program. So this is how the corona and domestic violence is growing, and how we are feel it, how the society is now. So COVID-19 lockdown and domestic violence is mandatory. Stay-at-home rules, economic uncertainty, and anxiety caused by the pandemic have led to an increase in domestic violence. Lockdown announcement. This lockdown announcement in the government of India, the March 24th, 2020. And the government failed to craft a strategy to address possible fallout in several areas. So many problems. So this is a term domestic violence used for many countries to refer to intimate partners violence, but it also encompasses child and elder abuse also, and abuse by any member of a household. While women does not face domestic violence, the rate of violence and the abuse directed at the women are high, particularly from perpetrators known to them. According to World Health Organization, 1 in every 3 women across the globe experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime, and at least 30% of all women in relationship have experienced physical and or sexual violence by their partners. The series of the COVID-19 lockdowns in India gives the opportunity of reporting the domestic violence, restricted movement, handicapped mediums of communication. All the reasons, the series of COVID-19 lockdowns, the reduced contact with the little family, and availability of the formal support system, and the nuclear family, these are all the regions. So fueled by the mandatory stay-at-home rules and the physical distancing, economic uncertainties and anxieties caused by the pandemic, the domestic violence has increased globally across the world. Countries include China, United States, United Kingdom, Brazil, Tunisia, France, Australia, and others have reported cases of increased domestic violence and intimate partner violence. India, infamous for the gender-based violence and ranked the 4th worst country for the gender equality, according to the public perception, is showing similar trends. While the nationwide restriction has been relaxed, various state and district level lockdowns invoked by every now and then, allowing the pandemic of domestic violence to spread the long side. You must not count violence against women as an inevitable outcome of crisis, but improve the otherwise delayed policy implication to address the situations. Within the few days of lockdown in India, National Commission of Women (NCW) noted a rise in number of domestic violence complaints received via email. The NCW chairperson believes that the real figure is likely to be higher, since the bulk of complaints come from women who send their complaints by post and might not be able to use the internet. Between the beginning of March and April 5th, the NCW received 310 grievances of domestic violence and 885 complaints for other forms of violence against women, many of which are domestic in nature, such as the bigamy, polygamy, dowry death, and harassment of dowry. Number of cases are likely not reported proportional and actual wise. So this is that trapped in the space of the violent and manipulative individuals could lead to the increased rates, intensive threats, physical, sexual, psychological abuse, humiliation, intimidation, and controlling behavior. The ability to isolate a person from family and friends, monitor their movements, and restrict access to financial resources, employment opportunities, education, and medical care is heightened by lockdown. These behaviors even have lasting effect on people and can significantly affect mental health and well-being. So this is all the vast subjects that we are discussing, and we'll discuss here all subjects accordingly. So we'll discuss all the eminent panelists of the expert of the on area. We have Madam Janice Darwari. She is a Consulate General of India, country of Montenegro, very social activist, and also in the Environment Committee of the very big organization Bharat Nirman. And there is a long list of organization. So, but here we are for the cause, for the social cause. She is here. So nice to you. Thank you, Madam Krishna Pujara ji. They're very actively involved in the social cause in the United Kingdom. But by her, she is a Hindustani, and all are Hindustani here, wherever countries they are. And she is a chairperson of the Saheli, very active organization in UK. She is also chairperson for Women Economic Forum, very prominent organization of the world. The branch in 150 countries. Recently, they have organized the international program on 12th and 13th June, last 2 days back, and very always active and very popular in UK social circle, political circle, and just we can say the Boris circle, and the other circle also, the Prime Minister. And we have Vandana Jhinganji, a senior journalist and social activist, and living more than 3 decades in America. From Chicago, she is there, but always just we say can in Hindi, Dil hai Hindustani, always just like that. Rakesh Tiwari ji from the Canada, Toronto, senior journalist, the editor-in-chief of Hindu Times Group, and living in Toronto, and always active for the India cause, and by Indian, Canadian there, but always think for the country, how are there, and so have solved so many cases of the uh, domestic violence of different types. So I included him like that. We have Dr. Dasni Priya, the famous university from the JNU. So if you anybody call nowadays JNU, so you can say different perception and concept about the concerned person. But she's not like that. She's very genuinely writer, prolific writer, always active in social front, always writing for the good cause, for the women and the other social issues. So we'll start from, I'll take from the Krishna Pujara ji. Actually, she initiated the subject of the very concerned domestic violence. So I was waiting for her. So Krishna ji, just to start the how just you the corona and domestic violence is so very sensitive. How the women are feeling now in the UK and other parts of the world. You have connected so many countries, so you have all the reports of the domestic violence cases. So please, Krishna Pujara ji, unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself.
Thank you. Namaskar and good evening to everybody. And thank you, Kumar Rakesh, for giving me an opportunity to talk about domestic abuse, because that's something it's very, very in my heart in terms of how we can support women and girls going through domestic abuse, and also men, actually. My specialty is I actually lead at one of the London boroughs domestic abuse operational forum for violence against women and girls. And obviously, since last year, during the COVID, there has been a lot of issues, a lot of change in numbers that have come up. And to start with, we actually don't call it domestic violence, actually. We call it domestic abuse, because when we say violence, violence is all about physical violence. But there is so many different forms of abuse that takes place. It is either physical abuse, it's either sexual abuse or emotional abuse or psychological abuse, financial abuse, like female genital abuse, organizational abuse. So it's all related. So now the term is now changed as domestic abuse and not violence, even though we are so used to using it like violence against women and girls in other parts of the world. That's what the United Nations sort of suggest. Now, in terms of, obviously, we all know that during COVID and due to the lockdown, people start staying indoors, and a lot of people go through stresses of life. And there are times abuse takes place within the household as well. And especially, there are couples where there are like heated arguments or something, and then can lead into more abuse, either emotionally or financially, and it leads to a breakdown in your well-being. So we are very keen that you look after yourself, make sure that you maintain your well-being, and that is where the role of Saheli and other women organizations come into place. I mean, not only women organizations, but also men go through a lot of stresses in life as well. So when there is like 15% of men who go through domestic abuse, and 85% of women who go through domestic abuse. We have seen a real rise in numbers throughout London in terms of how the numbers have just shot up. I mean, there was a stage when we went into lockdown. We had to look after women who were really vulnerable to make sure that they get the meals and they get the hot meals delivered to them. There was like huge sort of volunteer bank, because everybody was scared, like how do we support these vulnerable people, because obviously if we get the virus, there was not much known last March. Obviously there's been a lot of research since then, but like obviously there are people who want to help, and believe me, a wide range of community organizations got together in terms of supporting people, in terms of how we can support while we are getting all the actions in place. So reaching out, telephone calls, because obviously we had a list of all our clients on our system. So making sure that they are like reached out once a day or something to see that they are okay, they got the support, and they have some psychological support that they need to avoid. Because, you know, when people go through a lot of emotional abuse or are very vulnerable, do end up committing suicide, do end up cutting themselves, self-harming themselves, or just stop eating. They become anorexic, they don't want to touch food, they are lonely, isolated. So it's not just about physical violence, it's all about how things are happening. There's a lot of intimate partner sexual abuse that was taking place, and we had to step in, and we work very closely with the police in terms of how the cases are reported. And believe me, there are times, I mean, by the time we call them cases, but when our services are approached, it is when the person is in the last stages, when they cannot take it anymore. So we have to step in immediately, any time of the day. We are a 24-hour service, and make sure that we find a safe home, which we call that a refuge, to accommodate the woman. If there's any children involved, they are taken into a refuge space. But we try our best to mediate, to make sure that we do not split any couples away, because people are scared that if you go to a domestic abuse support, your marriage will be broken, your children will be lost. We definitely do not encourage that. We go through all the systems and procedures to ensure that they are following the right process, and also offer counseling in terms of talk to both the partners. And it's a very confidential service. And if I mean, there are cases, you know, there it can be supported, and we can help in terms of making sure that they get the support. But there are some women who reach our services are seriously in mental health issues. So there are times we have to accommodate them straight into a mental health unit within the hospital, because we work with the hospitals to make sure that they get the immediate support to overcome their health. And also there are women who are very vulnerable, who do not want to have any mediation at that stage when they are very upset. So we keep them in our safe homes, ensuring that they are safe, and then our caseworkers will start working with them to see how they want and how they want to progress. There are some women who want to go back, so we make sure we encourage them to go back, but also at the same time we keep monitoring, because the partner who is creating this abuse should be aware that they cannot get away with it. So we make sure that there are monitoring systems in place. We have a special app called Iris as well, where they can actually connect with us and tell us if something goes wrong. Now, in addition to the support, I mean, obviously, we work not only with the domestic abuse clients, we work with everybody. And there are times we bring in interventions, because even when women contact our services in advance, we make sure that there are interventions in place to make sure that they don't go through a stage where they end up having mental health issues. Now, COVID has raised a lot of alarm bells. And, you know, there has been a lot of bereavement. There has been people losing their siblings, number of people within their families at a short notice. And because they were so scared of saving their own lives, they haven't had time to actually go through bereavement. So now, as we are coming out of lockdown, I'll just come down.
I'll take you all the inputs later on that how Corona is going and affected the family, and just you initiated a subject and you have just all. I'll take all the cases, just how many cases you have just solved and going to solve also. So I'll take the Janice Darwari ji, just how just you came across the some cases or experiences, and this is a concern, Janice ji.
No, I would like to add something to Krishna Pujara ma'am, what she was telling about.
Please,
With your permission.
no, I'll take that. I'll come to you. This is a panel discussion, so 1-to-1 first take and second round and third round. So don't worry. I'll take your inputs also, and whatever you add and whatever your thoughts, I also include your. So no worry. Janice Darwari ji.
Krishna Pujari ji, you have spoken very well about the subject.
Yeah.
और आपने काफी कुछ कवर कर लिया है.
Yeah.
But जो राकेश जी ने जो सवाल पूछा है, जो प्रेजेंट वातावरण है हमारे देश में, इंडिया, जब ये पैंडेमिक हुआ और घर घर में लोग कुछ बीमार पड़े, कुछ
It's your choice, Janice ji. Program in English. If you speak English, that's okay. Otherwise,
No, just let her carry on. Rakesh ji, let her carry on. I think she's more fluent in Hindi.
No. This is the protocol of the program. Otherwise, no issue.
Language is not a problem.
No problem. But this is our protocol. This is the
No,
English
I think she can.
I appreciate it, Rakesh. It's very simple for me to speak.
Yeah. No problem. You have no language problem. I know. So not an issue. Yeah, please. Yeah.
We are in Delhi facing one of the biggest crises, which we did not expect to have such a big upsurge. Now, parents were not ready for their children to sit at home, and mothers who were working had to sit at home, and for them it was very trying with the children. So this was the first, few months it was okay. But as the time passed on and they had to actually look after their children at home, both the parents, you found that the parents, from all the love and affection they were giving their children, now they were also trying to understand their children's other types of behaviors, which was now everybody talks about being on the internet and the children spending more and more time on internet. So this became a big problem for parents, how to handle it, because the children yet wanted to be there with their internet friends and online and not talk to their parents. And now this became a reason for discord within the family also. Some of the cases, because of coronavirus, the fear which developed, and parents were looking at the fear factor. They were frightened if their children would get coronavirus, and therefore they were very, very strict with them. And being over strict also created a line between the parents and the children. However, most of the parents tried to make hay while the sun shines, and they played with their children. But then how much can they play? If they were babies, you could only play for a certain time. If they were in school of a particular age, a certain time. If they were adults, it's a certain time. The same thing happened to the wife who had been going out. She didn't cook at home. She was forced to cook. Now, the thing was, husbands were forced to cook. Very often when I would ring up, the husband would say, I'm going downstairs to buy the vegetables. Otherwise, my wife is going to scream at me. I mean, this was like a big surprise, because usually what is done so normally became like it's my duty to do it, not out of the love of the family. And I have to do it to protect my family. So that was another instance of people slowly over these past 1.5 years. Some became very domesticated, some became very violent. And that's when domestic violence started taking place. They would say, my wife, she's getting on my nerves. She's asking me, who am I talking to online? She's looking at my colleagues. She's interfering. So domestic violence breaks out of the smallest flip of a hat. It reminds me of that Salman Khan's program on TV, which he put everybody in one room and then said, see how they bash each other up. So So that's exactly what happened. I am trying to laugh over the incidents which are very grave, because we are talking about a very grave subject. But then if we do not bring laughter into our lives and laugh at the irony of it, that we have to sit back at home, be quiet, and sustain everything, it creates a reason for tolerance from within. So when we talk about such a subject of domestic violence and you talk about the coronavirus, both are domestic violence was always there in our country. So it's not a new topic. And yes, there are organizations to tackle it. That is also there in India. And then we have the fear factor, which now came in between husband and wife, and even between the mother and the children. If they were declared corona, now she did not know what to do. She wanted to protect her husband. So she would lock up her children in the room and say, I'm giving you the food under the door and let's talk on now. What she used to say, don't talk on WhatsApp. She was telling her children, talk on WhatsApp. So all these new behavior patterns came up. And if they were not able to cope with it, then they were screaming, they were shouting, they were abusing each other. They were saying, you do not know how to do this, you do not know how to do that. But these are all offshoots of when something happens which is new in your life and you do not know how to handle it. That's exactly what happened. And then, of course, things are like that. They will go on.
So Vandanaji, just what is the status of USA, and how just you're passing through this phase and the corona, and you have such experiences of domestic violence. You are so active socially in this USA and the different forms. So just how you analyze the situation. So
let's talk about this.
I welcome Jia Manjari also. Yeah, please go ahead. Please. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Good evening, everybody. And as we talk, somebody just mentioned this is a very gray subject. I don't call it gray, to be very honest, because unless and until we discuss, we live in an era where everything has to be black and white, no gray business, to be honest. I think if we give this as a category, so the grays will be over. Either you are black or you're white. If this is right, this is right. If this is wrong, this is wrong, definitely. 1 out of 4 women and 1 out of 20 men say, these are the CDC statistics. We're living in US, and where data says, even it's before the pandemic, 10 million every year cases gets reported. But the problem we face here, as the cultural barriers, we move to the Western world physically, but did we mentally? Because here system is very, very prompt. It is a fraction of a second. You cannot even imagine. Before even you open your door, you will find the help right there for you. But we are hesitant in calling. Help is available, either to he or to she. And I always say men and women complement each other. What was failing, because the honeymoon was over very fast, as it is a limited time. Everybody enjoyed initial stage, we're working from home, because earlier, when we talk about 8 hours of working outside, so that you include an hour and a half travel one way, so 3 hours more. You just come home to sleep. And what is other involvement? Weekends is gaga, because and responsibilities, they were sharing between each other. Everybody got locked in, everybody, with different reasons. Somebody had, because India has a different reasons, but because the kids like a limited space, so they have to be locked in. Here it is not as such. We have ample of space. So coming to US, what US has faced, the numbers have gone very, very high. In Chicago itself, March 2020, 14.6% of increase, which is not, means like, yeah, March 2020, I mean, lockdown happened only in February, and our lockdown is not the lockdown like in India. I've been going out. I am good to go without a mask when I'm walking. I am good to go driving. I have to wear mask. I have family traveling, because we are not wearing mask when we're sitting outside. It's very different things. I'm supposed to wear mask when I'm in the store to go shopping. But now CDC has taken those guidelines also from 11th of this month, June. We don't even, it is mentioned, if you have been, no mask required. Am I wearing it? Yes, for my own sake, to be honest. I just want to be. So coming back to this particular subject, what has been missing, Kumar Rakesh ji, we failed somewhat in really realizing the situation, the beautiful thing between the relationship of the partners, to be honest. We were living a very fixed relationship. This was a time where majority. So in the coming future, we don't know, because this pandemic, it's just getting over. Will be whether the world is going to change. Everybody saying there will be a change. We human beings forget very fast. You will see that, and you have started seeing it. We have people partying in Chicago from 2 days onwards. You cannot even, I mean, was there anything? Nobody even cares. Like, was there anything? You saw that the same thing happen in India during Diwali time. I mean, like how shopping was happening. So it has to be propagated. So these things at least come to a stall, to be honest. Abuse is, if a woman who's earning, and I say, oh, this is something which is like a 20 bucks. Oh, I will check with my husband and I will let you know. It can be taken both ways round. She is not independent to spend that money, even she is independent in earning. And the second contrary to it may be that she wants to avoid that situation. I mean, want to pass it. No, she doesn't want to spend, but husband pe dal diya. Like, okay, I will ask and then spend it. So very, very, means it's disturbing the way situation is increasing. And I think they were sick and tired seeing each other 24/7. So earlier they used to see only few hours in the morning and few hours in the evening, because at night people are sleeping. And so whichever has been happening is not happening good. Administrations are doing their own job and their own roles. Abhi law enforcement, they are also limited, means like how much they can do. So the social organizations, like Krishna Pujaraji said, they have a role to play, because we need to have those kind. Only khali part karne se kuch nahi hona, because we have to educate people. Thank you very much.
So nice of you, Bandana ji, just case the situation in the USA. And now we connected Jia Manzari. He's also a social activist and involved in counseling and for the society, and the Beti Bachao Andolan's ambassador, and associated so many organizations. So I'll take Zia, but now all the three women spoke. So I'll take Rakesh Tiwari ji, just to, I think not, I'm saying the balanced one, but I'll take input from the Canada, how the case is reported. They also involved in so many social organizations, and also involved in counseling and saved so many families. So Rakesh Tiwari ji, just how your experiences?
Thank you so much, Kumar Rakesh ji. And let me say that we are in minority, including you too, for this particular subject.
No, Krishna Pujari shared us the 15% man also just violated, and 85% men. So honestly,
Yeah.
so we can take the data of the Krishna Pujari. So honestly, she spoke and placed all the facts before us.
Yes, okay. But
Please.
let me address, while you brought that particular 15% one,
please.
And all the
please correct your frame, sir. Please correct your frame.
Okay. Let me start from there. And with all due respect, Dr. Krishna Pujara, I would like to correct her, especially with when we talk about, and I'm the a person who is talking about the male minority here in the panel. Okay. So I'm
sorry, no, we can't use the word minority.
Well,
we are not talking.
Well, that's my freedom of speech.
Facts.
Male, fact is there that all the women panelists are there, and I'm the one male, and you are the one another male. Let me come back to the point. So, one reason,
please correct your frame, Tiwari ji. Correct your frame. Your frame is not properly fit. So the face
I am
is
able to see myself how you want it. Is it better now?
Yeah. better than before.
Thank you. So, when we are talking about the man reporting at this, Dr. Krishna has mentioned about that 15% men. A lot of men, they do not go and report, to address this to the counselor or to the psychologist, to any other place, because they feel shame as a man too, that if I go and say what is going to happen, and their so-called male pride comes in between there. I would like to go further from that. And during this COVID period, and I would like to address the issue of alcohol and drug. I have done myself so many programs, on the, as an anchor to last year and this year, and where we found it, and especially in Canada, when we are talking about, in India, it might be worse too, that the domestic abuse has increased, doubled up. Okay, and the children abuse comes too, and other abusers comes too. So when we are talking about not only women abuse, when we're talking about domestic abuse, children abuse comes, elder people, they get abused too, whosoever has the power. So many reasons came. So and I would like to place especially the alcohol and drug is the one of the major reason. I can give you so many examples of it, which has been reported in the media, where a son has killed his mother or beaten up his mother for alcohol during this COVID period. Not only that, and we can see that as since last year till this year, whenever there was some time for giving a bit openness, or the lockdown was getting a bit loosen up, people were lining up for the alcohol. And our great governments, all the governments, be it in India, be it in Canada, they had supported it. And that I will say, I would like to use, when I say that hypocritic and double standard policy, okay, is the main reason. Because they want to make money, and they want this to continue. At the same time, they will talk about domestic abuse and all those nonsense, while they are providing the alcohol to boost it up. I would like to say one more thing. And Vandana ji, she has mentioned that a woman, when she is earning, and when she says that, well, I'll talk to my husband. I'm sorry, I think she's being unfair, because in a husband and wife situation, even the husband says to say, he will say, let me talk to my wife. Okay, I can't, so even me too, I can't say, I can make a major decision, let me consult. So that's a consulting process in today's day.
But that was mentioned by Janice ji, actually. Some incident mentioned by the Janice Darbari ji.
Yeah. So it happens with the men too. Similarly, I can consult my wife. I said I can't make any decision till I talk to my wife. That's important, and that doesn't mean okay. And after the marriage, in my humble understanding, women control more. They are the home minister of it. Man gets the pocket money. Okay, you get this pocket money. Where did you go? Okay, so all these things. Okay,
so no, the Tiwari, just you already accepted and adopted the resolution. You are really in minority. You're so fear with all the big women here. So I'll take the Dr. Dashni Priya. She's patiently listening to all the thoughts and inputs from the all away. So I'll take Darshini. How just your society is facing in India? Just you came across so many cases, and so many cases you also solved and tried to counsel your friends and family also. So how just you experience the curse for the society, just during the Corona phase, the domestic violence cases, please. This is voice is very low. Your voice is very low, actually. Increase your volume, please.
Yeah, exactly. Let me do it first. The second
please go ahead.
Let me do it. Actually.
Please.
I don't know whether I'm audible or not properly.
No, good. Now better. Better than before. Yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah. So good evening to all. Our honorable panelists and other people, and especially Mr. Rakesh, who invite me to call on this very grave issue. Actually, this is a matter of concern. This is new normal for all youths, basically. So it's very hard to accept a new normal. It's a very new concept for us. The people who are working, the people who are young, the people who are basically they have started new job and new life. So, my matter of concern is that when I, gone through the cases of reporting cases of National Crime Bureau, while I was going through this report, I've seen that National Crime Records Bureau data showed that the
of
number of
India.
cases
You have to mention
registered.
the India.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm talking about
yeah.
in terms of
Please,
India,
please,
right?
please,
The
please.
case is registered under the section 498A. Basically, it is for the
Yeah.
cruelty for the husband or
Yeah.
his relatives, registered an increase of 21.3% in 2009-20. So
Oh my God.
1920, like it's increased by 21.3%, and that's it's a very serious issue, I think.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, if we'll talk about the number of cases registered under this, the Protection of a Woman from Domestic Violence Act 2005, and that reflected a very low data. It's decline of 4.5%. So, can you see this, reflection of
Yeah.
increasing of this, crime reports and decreasing of this domestic violence report, which is, under PWDW, PWDV. Actually, it is a called.
Yeah.
This is a rule. So under this case is registered under section 498. I was listening I don't know, I forget the name of this panelist who is running this Saheli
Yeah.
organization.
Vandanaji. Sorry.
Yeah.
Krishna
No,
Puja.
Krishna
Krishna.
Pujara.
Krishna Puja.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had been this experience also here in India, in Delhi. I worked with some organization which is called Jagori. You might have heard about it. It's work for
Yeah.
domestic
Yeah.
violence.
Yeah.
It's work
Very
for the
prominent
women.
organization.
It's a
Yeah.
yeah, it's very big organization which
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
work for this ladies problem. So
Yeah.
here, recently I've gone through that the panel's report said that the NGO, this Jagori had reported so many cases gone unreported. I mean, increasing in the 2019 and 20, we talk about this Jagori reported, they have a data basically of this crime reports. So they inform that it has several cases of domestic violence went unreported. And the reason for this unreporting is like, embarrassment. The one of the basic factors is embarrassment, fear of retaliations, economic factor, and dependency and fear of losing kids. So this I would like to add that time when I interrupted you while she was telling
No
something
problem.
about
Just
that
no problem.
organization.
Not an issue.
So here in India, the situation is very different. If we talk about especially in rural part of India, that's very difficult. Here in Delhi, if we're talking about we are sitting in metro city, we can register the case. We can, we have some organization to, talk about and take the facility of counseling and all. But if we talk about the rural part, or if we talk about the small cities, the facility is none. I mean, it's a very less facility. People, even women, are facing huge cruelty by the husband and the family person, and they don't have any option. They don't have any way to go out. I mean, where they have to go to report. I mean, for reporting, people are not listening. Thanedars are not even they have the only way to go to the nearest police stations.
This is also
Police
case. The police
Yeah,
don't
but due
register.
to the
Yeah. Yeah.
embarrassing that I already mentioned, due to the
Yeah.
embarrassment and fear of retaliation or economic dependency and losing of a kids, they are not going outside. So the situation is very worst in especially the domestic part of India. If see, we are fortunate, we are sitting in Delhi, we can manage somehow.
Yeah.
But even in
Yeah.
Delhi, the crime reports, the crime cases, raised by 23.1%, and that's a very concern issue. So I guess we have to talk about, and we have to also not only talk about, we have to find out the solution. What is the real cause? It's not only the
That's a
sitting behind the
very,
couch.
very valid
No, no.
point. Very valid point. Just mentioned, Dr. Rashni. There's the solution. What should be solution? What
Yeah,
is the
exactly. We have to discuss.
amicable solution? How just to go it? So I'll ask Jia Manzarizi. Just Dr. Dasri raised the point with the all the problems just raised in the family and outside the family and within the family and relationship. How will just can the control? How we just solve this problem just for maintain the nice society, happy society.
So what I believe, first of all, women has to change their perspective. They have to teach women or females or girls, the young girls, that they shall raise their voice against any kind of violence. We are the women who used to teach women to remain silent on most of the issues, which is very, very problematic, which I found in most of the cases where a mother or where a sister or where somebody like, mother-in-law or any female is indulgent, they used to teach a female that you shall remain silent when it comes to the family violence. You shall not speak. So, in a way, we are giving encouragement to people like this who are creating this kind of violence against the women or for the women. So the bigger part comes to the women itself. We are the culprit, right? I would say, of course, men are suffering. As you said that you are minority or the one panelist is minority. Of course, yes, there are issues, but they are very minor issues. But in the majority, if you talk about, women are suffering because of the women. So what I want, being a empowered woman, we have to be more knowledgeable. We have to be more you can say uh, we have to be more educative about this, that we have to teach our girls that how to react on a situation. If something like this is happening, how we shall react. If there is a problem, we shall not remain silent, we shall discuss it. We shall not sideline the things, and we shall move on. We shall definitely call the member of the family and discuss about it. At the same time, I would like to talk about the government perspective in this, that the domestic violence, why it is happening. If you talk about Delhi government, right? So the
Yeah, I'll
problem
give you
is
one
that,
example. That's a very burning example I have that I'd like to add in your point, and that's very
yeah,
burning. Why it is I'm saying, sorry to interrupt, but that's very
no
important
issue.
to add it here. I was just sitting here in Delhi and I was dealing with a case while I was just, I visited different part of India and even especially in the rural part of India. Here is a case
Mhm.
which was like dealing by Jagori organization Jagori called. There was a lady like she was repeatedly beaten by her husband every day while and her husband is alcoholic, and she called up a cop, right? And
Mhm.
she reported like he's beating me and all. What happened? Police cop came. He threatened, and then what happened again? He went back. Everything gone normal. And after a few days later, like 4 5 days, again this thing happened. Once again, it will start. I mean, he start beating up. After taking alcohol, and that lady was basically financially unsound. She was not well educated. She was not in that capacity to earn money, and she was completely a housewife. She actually hails from some rural part of India. So, I mean, she has not any options to, I mean, either she has to go back to her mother house or either she has to be, retaliate. But retaliation is not an option. Her husband threat that if you retaliate me, I'll leave you, or either you should take divorce. And when she called up her mother and father parents, her parents said, okay, please, daughter, you manage it. Somehow you have to manage with that guy. We cannot do anything. So in that situation, what that lady do? I mean, one side she's not financially sound. She cannot retaliate properly as she has not money.
Agree.
She just took help of an NGO, but NGO also just make them compromise and
That is a
sometimes.
very valid
And what
question,
happened?
Dr. Dasani.
No, this
That
is
is that is a very valid question just you raised. What will you do when the cases are there? So now we
no. I just talk about the case
no,
study. What
no,
happened
no,
here?
no.
This
Okay,
is a
that's
case
good.
study.
That's good. That
So
you
that
place your view. So
so that's where
okay,
the that's where the system comes in picture, where our police system or the management system or like political system, everything like social system comes in the picture, where because this system is also run by men and women. So this kind of counseling is required for the police department as well. I have seen many cases where women are going to report their problems, and then policeman is telling like ये तो होता है, you have to bear with this, you have to cooperate with the family, and then they suffer because where they have the only option to complain, and then they are getting this kind of response, so they feel helpless
But
because they cannot.
83% of people are not knowing this. There is a counseling centers or there are the people who are
no,
helping for them.
no. They actually there
Most
is
of
a
the people are
rules
not
of
aware about
awareness
it. I mean,
actually. Yeah,
especially, yeah, it's lack of awareness. People are not
yeah,
knowing
yeah.
about it.
So
I
so
mean,
Jia, just
they
how
don't
you
have
just
idea. Is there any
We have
counseling
to know.
center?
actually Jia, how you just have a role to awareness, how to aware the people. Just can you focus on that?
What I would suggest that there has to be a kind of system or kind of education system or like kind of seminars to give to women, or like these kind of organizations shall start an initiative where they can educate them for their right and responsibilities. Like
Yeah,
we always talk as an Indian, we always talk about the right, we do not talk about the responsibilities, especially men, women. As a normal citizen, this is a basic fundamental problem within the system itself. So we have to educate them. This is your right and this is your responsibility. And rights, when it comes to a female, they are highly uneducated about what all privileges they have. They where all they can complain. They do not know even the portals. They what they go to extreme problems and then they used to reach to the police nearest police station. Otherwise, this social system has taught them to to absorb all the kind of problem and keep on walking with those. So we have to change this system. We have to educate them that these are the preliminary examples of things like अगर आपके साथ में ऐसा हो रहा है like somebody is threatening you, what kind of act is applicable on that? How can you report that? How can you write the reports on that? How can you complain it on? And then if somebody like a police person, because police person is at the end of the day, he is also male, right? I have seen a case in front of my eyes where a female reached a police station and she complained about, and then a man, was teaching her that like, ठीक है, it happens in the family. You have to bear with it. So this kind of problem when it arises, she has to have that kind of information with herself, where she's so much of knowledgeable that she can raise this question. This is my fundamental right to raise a complaint against this, and you cannot stop me. So this is a fundamental right question, whether it's a man or a woman. If you are facing any kind of
Manjari, it is all about Manjari. Let me speak one thing. Manjari, it is all about the urban population. It's not for the rural population. Either the people who are the women who are staying in the rural part, they're totally away from. They're not connected with the media. They're not connected with the network. They don't have any.
But the fundamental rights are equal, whether it's a rural or urban area.
I'm talking about the reporting cases. I'm talking about the report.
Okay, this is reporting cases, different one. I'll take just Mafi Irish, just joined from the Italy, and she is an advocate, and she work for the so many papers also, and was editor of the legal magazine.
I think Rakesh ji, you should take one question from that day. I mean, that guy, I don't understand. Nee, Rakesh Kumar ji, because since long he's just figuring out, putting his hand and asking the question.
Dr. Dasani, just I've seen he raised the hand,
carry on,
raised the fingers, but this is we have to adjust all one, and I'll take all the inputs from all. So that is the legal angle. The legal angle. They also invited the psychologist, just from the all angles. So Mafi, living in Italy, and joined from the Italy, and he's associated with the United Nations program, and also editor of the legal magazine, and very active socially, as in India, as in the Italy. So Mafi, just how you analyze the situation, the corona and domestic violence, how the cases in Italy, Italy was the second country of the China where the pandemic, where the corona was just spread like anything. So how the situation in Italy, how you compare the cases with India and Italy and the coronavirus? Please, Mafi.
Good evening, Mr. Rakesh, and to all the panelists and the viewers. Thank you for having me. You mentioned about the fact that if there are domestic violence cases prevalent in Italy, perhaps I would say no, because Italy is a matriarchal society. And as a result of this, the most recent example I can tell you about the fact that the Italian Prime Minister in the Global Summit Solutions mentioned that he is focusing on empowering women and youth. And as a result of this, for the first time in history, a head of the security services is headed by a woman, which is creating history. So I think domestic violence per se is not as exorbitant or not as it is in the other countries. Especially, I can strongly say that there cannot be a comparison made with domestic violence cases in India and in Italy, because surely it is disproportionate, and I can say this even without referring to statistics. On a global level, yes, in the pandemic situation, 1 in 3 women are experiencing sexual violence, mostly by their intimate partners. And I can say that the sexual violence during the pandemic is a pandemic within a pandemic or a shadow pandemic. As one of the panelists just mentioned before about knowing their rights, yes, it is very important for a woman to know her rights. I would disagree with the statement that was made that women are highly uneducated. I don't think so. In India, perhaps they are not very highly uneducated. They are educated indeed. However, there is lack of awareness, which I strongly agree. And I heard about a comment on how the awareness can be created in urban and rural area. The National Legal Services Authority in India has specific schemes to protect the rights of women and children. An organ of the National Legal Services Authority is the State Legal Services Authority and the District Legal Services Authority. And as you can infer from how it's located or how there is delegation of powers, women both in urban and rural area have access to the District Legal Services Authority, and perhaps if they are facing any violence of that kind, it's easier for women both in rural and urban areas to reach out to the District Legal Services Authority or the State Legal Services
You are
Authority,
talking about India.
because there are
Mafi, you are talking about India.
Yes, sir.
Not Italy.
Well, like I said at the very initial statement of mine, that perhaps Italy cannot be compared to the percentage of domestic violence that is occurring. I'm not negating the fact that there are zero cases. Of course, there are certain cases of domestic violence in Italy as well, considering the fact that it is a matriarchal society and not a patriarchal society. The domestic violence in the pandemic situation in Italy is comparatively less.
Okay, so I'll take the whatever inputs from the Rakesh Tiwari ji, but now who initiated subject Krishna Pujara ji, I'll take from the one round, the second round one. So how do you just from all the speakers, all the panelists just spoke about the solution and what is a remedy and how we can control it with the counseling and awareness, as Dr. Darshani said, and Jia ji said, and Janice Darwari ji said, Bandana ji said, as well as Rakesh Tiwari also, who feels minority among all of them, but I don't feel so. So, Krishna ji, just how just you gave us the solution that around we have the 10 to 12 minutes.
Well, this
please.
Yes, thank you, Kumar Rakesh, and I think that's a very interesting conversation from all the panelists. Obviously, all of some of you have highlighted a number of issues which are very important, and some of you have actually raised a lot of concern, which I think I'll try to talk. Well, somebody talked about empowerment. Empowerment is, all women are empowered, but they need a support to sort of get support when they really need it. Now, one of the young lady talked about a case study, which was to do with shame. And, it happens not only in India, but all over the world because of the way we have been constructed. What happens is when something goes wrong in your marriage or something, if you try to go and see your family, they want to turn their backs because they feel that it's either how will we show the face to the world and all that. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. But
Krishnaji, solution.
It's yes.
What is the solution? How just you command it? How you control it?
Okay, so now what it is we are doing a lot of outreach work in the community. We make sure that we reach out in the schools at a younger level. So
that's nice.
The teachers actually then highlight, because the training is given to teachers, and they pick up, if the children pick up something or anything else, then the parents can actually report it to the teachers and we get involved. In addition, we also go to the faith places, because how would you make sure, how would somebody who is inside the house, who cannot talk to anybody, how would they speak to somebody? Normally it is within the temples or mosques or gurudwara or any other place. So faith faith places is something that we normally target and make sure that the frontline officers are trained. We also actually do a lot of training in community organizations to make sure that we reach out. Frontline workers are very important, especially nurses and doctors, because they know how they can then refer the cases on. But it is just basic training. I think it's all about raising awareness, how to pick up the signs of domestic abuse, how you can support. Now, when you go to the police station, we make sure that now in UK, we have women officers. The minute the woman would say that she wants to speak to a women officer, she would have access to that straight away, and then she will feels comfortable that she can talk to a woman much better than to a man. Now, in other words, empowering is there, and especially when it is a shame or something, we actually raise awareness in terms of, if we don't have any places, we have safe homes where we can take ladies in with their children, because they can't just live there. And if they don't do anything about it, sharam hai ya izzat ka sawal hai, and then they end up committing suicide. They end up committing suicide because they're so emotionally imbalanced. So we want to restrict that. We want to overcome that in terms of self-harm. Like look at this, not
and here in India we have this humiliation culture.
Yeah, total.
Humiliation is global phenomenon, not in India. You can't say only in Indian humiliation. Everywhere.
No, I'm talking about here in India. Like most of the ladies are facing humiliation by the police also in the center. There is a lack of one-stop centers.
Yes.
There is short-term. I mean, there is no short-stay homes here in India.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that is where the training comes in. Also, there are times the mental, emotional well-being plays an equals difficult part as well. I mean, just one example: when somebody goes for exam and there is expectation from parents that you have to pass, you have to pass, you have to pass. I've spent so much money, and then when the results come and they find that they failed, they want to commit suicide because it's
so Krishnaji, you want to say just how the awareness and empowerment, two things. Awareness and empowerment and training train to the concern how to cope with this problem. So
institutionalization is very important.
Reaching out to the victims who are not saying anything. So what we do is we actually reach out in the bars, into pubs, everywhere.
I'll come into Rakesh Tiwari, don't worry. Krishnaji just
I will come back to Rakesh's issue as well. Just to say that we reach out to all the places, like, in restaurant toilets, in pubs, in bar, where that women are likely to be victimized. So we have our number, so they phone the number. Yeah. We actually give out free lip balms where we have our numbers. So if any woman is in crisis, we make sure that they phone that number and there is a help available.
That's so nice.
And just one final one, Rakesh, was about Mr. Tiwari's drug and alcohol abuse he mentioned, which he's very right. And he said that people are making money. No, I think what it is obviously we all know that when people are addicted, when people need alcohol, if they don't get it, they will become more abusive. And that is one of the reasons that they could not stop selling alcohol to anybody. I mean, there are places where people cannot even stop selling cigarettes because people get really this addictive problem. They can't just change overnight when you go into lockdown.
But here we have a victim blaming attitude.
So nice. I'll take all the panelists just to have the 10 to 12 minutes.
My case here because I'm sure there are
but you have to be here next 10 to 12 minutes, Krishna ji. I request you. So I'll take the Dennis ji, Dennis Darwari ji. I'll take the all round, second round, third round, just for the solution and just remedy of this grievous problem, just how the global, facing globally, not in India.
Just one more. Sorry, Janice, just one more. What we have compiled a list of all the services that are available, which organizations provide the support. So, which is with the police, with the social services, with the government departments.
But that was for only UK only. No, Krishna ji, that is only for UK. So you sent for the India. So and Darsani and the GIG and all will handle it.
I agree. It is in UK, but other countries can follow that,
And Vandana ji from USA. So
there is a lot of need of institutionalization. So institutional change is required.
Jenny, how do you think just for the solution and the remedy of this problem?
Well, I think right in the beginning, one of our panelists, who is from Chicago, right?
Yeah.
She showed a beautiful pillow, and I'd like her to show it.
Yeah, so nice.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So nice. This is a right one.
Cute.
Yeah, this way. This is a good one.
Forget it.
So, what does it indicate, Vandanaji? What does it indicate?
Yes.
Love and affection.
Oh, love. No. Just to tell, tell her to just.
No, we are not able to hear now. What she is telling, we are not able to hear.
No, only showing, not telling anything. Unmute yourself.
I said it is a love, affection.
Yeah.
This is only not a pillow. You have to feel it. That's what it is. Not only for cuddling. That's what, like when it is.
Nice one. Nice one. So
it's not only just every day is a Valentine's Day if you really want to celebrate. Not only the 14th of February.
Great. Genesis, something to add? Yeah.
Well, basically, the love, as she has rightly put it into a beautiful cushion. It is the cushion of life.
Yeah.
And
cushion of love, we can say.
Yes, it's a cushion of life, actually, because if you look
at
it, Corona pushed you into understanding what is love, what is friendship, what is understanding. And this has also been flowing amongst neighbors who have got out to help. We've seen that the Corona, all these people who were perhaps victims of domestic violence, even these very men have come out to help on the streets with people who needed oxygen. So, you see, what has happened is there's a dark side of it. There is also a beautiful side of it. It has brought out the human touch, the humanity within humans. And it has told them, it has in fact reminded them that you are humans first and then later on you are individuals. So collectively, I think we have to understand that Corona and domestic violence, though they are absolutely different subjects, but Corona has helped us to understand each other even in a better way than ever. Even governance, even they have come forward. They have tried to empower people. They have tried to say, okay, you can import these oxygenators. So it is taking a more human stand. So where this domestic violence would erupt if you did not get medical services, at least the government was being more cautious, more loving to its people. Where the Gurudwaras were concerned, they have met this challenge beautifully. So it has educated people. So this whole process of violence has to be tackled from a social level. And if the same men could be drunk at home, come out and help, and the same woman who was perhaps bashing up a child could come out and help somebody else, these patterns of human behavior which have changed with Corona, it is a very big reflective index of what we may affect, what we can expect in the future also.
Okay. So nicely just you placed your view and just analyze the situation. So Bandanaji, with your the great pillow, just you have already sent the masses with the just good
you can say. I just want to say in very few words, you cannot educate somebody at the age of 25. You cannot educate at the age of 50. You should educate them at the age of 2. You should educate them at the age of 3. And responsibility comes from home, mother, father. Then it comes social responsibility. Then it comes to go to the schools. When they go to the society, like, we do have in schools, you will be surprised. No, when the kid starts the small school, they say right touch, wrong touch. This is not
good,
somebody touching you.
Good touch,
you should be, means like this is good, this is bad. Oh, men has this, woman has this. Because we're talking about in today's time, when you say the internet era, you say, sex education or what, then comes the role of administration. Because that will come later. She will be able to, or he will be able to realize it from a very beginning. You do have friends coming home. You do have senior relatives coming home. So parents should be taking kids as a friend, so they should be able to talk to them, because the abuse is only not It is always by the friends, the family members, and the social acquaintances, those who are coming. So the confidence level built within the bond has to start from the family.
That's point.
And
That's valid point. Valid points. Very
that,
valid. Yeah.
and
Real.
then the
Real.
social organizations should not only just for the sake of the name, they should work on ground, and there has to be education. Let it be uniform officers, they should also be educated about it, because they also are family members. And on the contrary, the law enforcement agencies, coming back to that, and I'll conclude in 30 seconds, because when you're making, if these laws and the Constitution of India or wherever, they were made long ago, because the culprit has to be penalized right away. So that will be a lesson. Let it be a father of a daughter, or let it be an aunt of a boy. So it should be. That's what it is. Thank you.
Nice. Rakesh Tiwari is just feeling lonely, actually, just feeling don't feel the minority, but you can feel lonely, but you have to answer all the questions.
No, I'll answer. I'll answer. First thing, that, see, Kumar Rakesh ji has very well, he knows that when you are in minority, how should you play along? So he has given all the women.
I never feel minority.
No, you cannot know.
I never feel minority. Here in a World Economic Forum, there is a seminar called "Man are Equals," but men and women are equals. I advocate like that, and by the mind. The mind, she will just Krishna ji there. That was a good seminar in the London and 2019. So you can't say like that. I feel it. Men and women are equal. No, I understand it. I analyze it.
Hello,
all are equal.
For my time, you're gonna interrupt again.
No,
let me say.
You just pinch me. That's I have right to react.
Well, don't react now. After when I speak, okay. Let me come to the three, because I know the timing is short.
Please carry on.
Let me bring a couple of things very straightforward.
But you have to get the time limits also.
I know. So you are taking my time, so I will not. I will finish my points.
No, please,
so
fast.
As
Bandhanaj do it.
You are keep
like
on interrupting,
Please.
Yeah, okay. Please. Now my point is one simple. All the women panelists who are here, I will say. And everybody says,
panelist,
our daughters,
panelist, please correct it. Panelist.
Panelist.
Respect panelist, not women panelist. Please.
All the women panelists who are here. That's what I said.
Sir, my request is please
you are interrupting me.
That's okay, we are women. That's okay. We are fine with it. Don't worry.
Let me complete my point, sir. Let me complete. Okay. You are the anchor. You can't heckle me. Okay. My number one point on a very serious note.
Yeah.
On a very serious,
please.
Women should take a responsibility. Most of the women, in be it whatever is my own experiences there, women, they give preference to the male child, to the boy, to the brother, to the son, compared to the female.
Agreed.
It has happened. We have all seen it. Okay, so you have to teach your son before the daughter. The second, and here, the next thing is that if we feel for the domestic abuse, the broader aspect is there. If we can do it, teach all the daughters, all the female child should be taught martial art. That's my number 2 suggestion. The third thing I will say, as I mentioned before, alcohol abuse. I cannot, let me say this. This is proven with the data that in the first COVID wave, when there was a complete lockdown, domestic abuse went significantly down. And the moment bars, alcohol shops were open, domestic abuse risen up. I can say with the data, it happened in Canada, it happened in India, and everywhere else. It is the proof. It is on the record. And Kumar Rakesh ji, you have taken my time, so you will not interrupt me till I complete it.
I'm not going to interrupt. Actually, time is running out, Tiwari ji. You should understand.
You can.
You are founder of the. You are as a founder of the show. You can't say like that, please.
Just kidding. Just kidding. You have all the rights.
No, sir. No, you have all the rights, but we have the three panelists more left. I'll take the Mafi and the Jia and Dr. Dasri Priya. She has a lot of shown patience. Dr. Dasri is a very aggressive lady with your action and reaction with the thoughts. So I'm seeing, I salute her today. He has taken the patiently. So Dr. Dasri.
No. I'm as cool as. No, I'm not.
So nice. So nice. So should be women should be always aggressive. As I think I the father.
No, they must be at the proper time. No? When there's a situation occurs, they must fight against. They should not.
So just
anyways,
I
just conclude the things.
No, 1 minute maximum, and 30 seconds to each.
I'll just take half minutes.
Please.
Yeah, sure. I'll just my concern is on basically on the internal part of India. Basically, I am much concerned about the rural areas where the things happening. I mean, here in Delhi, we can manage. In metro cities, we can manage. We have we are well equipped, but there we are not. So basically, what I suggest, atrocity crimes against women and children, they must recommend it to the concerned states and UTs. To conduct periodic sensitization and briefing of ground level officials dealing with the, PWDV Act, so that the women facing domestic violence could be better equipped with the, to access the justice. Secondly, the second thing I would like to suggest, that due publicity is very, very required. Due publicity should be given by the states, government, and the UTs, through the newspaper, TV, and different medium, so that people must aware. That's
so
two
nice.
things is very, very important.
Yeah, Manjari. I'll take the final call, the Mafi, and then all the after that we'll go.
Yeah. So of course, it's a bigger concern for the rural areas. So we can add on kind of like, as I already told, that right and responsibility area on the constitutional grounds. We shall add a kind of syllabus in the 12th or 10th syllabus itself, that what is the fundamental rights and fundamental responsibilities of a citizen, being a male, being a female. So that shall empower citizen of India, and that will aware a citizen of India. I will not differentiate here as a male or female. Victimized can be done by anyone, or anyone can be victim of the this kind of domestic violence.
Thank you.
So they shall be know, they shall be know about their rights and how they can protect themselves. So the self-protection will be done if they are well aware about the laws which they can they can use at the time of danger or at the time of this kind of violence, right? And second thing I would like to say, that do not pop up India's name when it comes about the female violence or female rights or women rights, because if you go about in the history, it's like in 80s in Europe women get the right of voting, and India way back women were ruling the country. So we were more empowered, we were more acknowledged in the world and the history. So we are more empowered women, right?
Okay.
So I would always say that, yes. So do not ever say that India has victimized women. Yes, India has always empowered women. Mumtaz, this thing. Pardon? Yeah. So I would say, yeah. So I would say, Jhansi Ki Rani, or anybody like these kind of Viranganas has taken birth in India itself. They were never taken birth in Arab. Why they have not taken birth in Arab, or they have not taken birth in Turkey? So these kind of empowered women.
Yeah, we got it. Just you want to convey. So now that the final take is Mafi Iris as an advocate and a human rights activist, and just how do you just analyze the situation just in India and just living in Italy? So 1, 2, 3 legal reforms. What you suggest according to your thoughts? Legal reforms for the protection of the society and for the stop the domestic violence. Please.
I would like to quote our late legend, Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer, who said that every girl and women face feticide, dowrycide, rapicide, and perhaps in the COVID situation, they also face something called child bride side, which is children getting married at a very young age. It is a concern. And like one of the other panelists said, yes, it is very important to know the fundamental rights. A woman has to be aware of the fundamental rights and also the fundamental duties, for sure. In Italy, there is something called the policy on gender equality. Perhaps implementing something similar to that in India will help enhance and protect our women and children, through which there can be gender mainstreaming, educating women also in the labor market, reconciling both personal and professional life, basically implementing a policy to mainstream gender equality, encompassing all the associated factors would perhaps be the solution.
So nice of you, and all of you just you placed your view and expressed your view in the very emphatic manner, in transparent manner, how just domestic violence should be stopped, not in India and every part of the globe. And just thanks to Denis Darwari ji, Consulant General of India and Montenegro, and the social activist Krishna Pujara ji, who just initiated subject, and also they given the so many nice suggestions and so inputs for all of us. We'll think just all the Indian panelists will take the note from Krishna ji as to how he has been doing in the UK and other parts of Europe for the stopping this type of women violence, including the domestic violence. And also thanks to Vandana Jinganji, Rakesh Tiwari ji, Mafia Aris, Jia Manzuri, and all our panelists just who joined here and express your view and for the sake of global society. So nice of you. Thanks to all, and thanks from the
Thanks
Global
to Kumar
Governance,
Rakesh ji.
Global Governance News TV, and I will again meet in this in the next show with the new thoughts, with the new program, with the new inputs. So nice
Bring
of you.
more
Thanks
majority
you.
there.
Yeah, no problem. I think our Rakesh Tiwari is only one to counter all of you. Don't worry. So I just salute to you and all of you again. So this is we hope the corona should go and just we'll free from the corona globally, from the society, the curse for society. So we hope and pray to God. So corona should not be here with all means. So thanks to all, and obliged just you attended this our show, the grand show of the Corona and domestic violence. So nice of you.
Thank you.
And watch Global Governance News and go and like and subscribe this channel, Global Governance News TV, and grow like anything. The nice thoughts, novel thoughts for society. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Hind.